Hi everybody, thanks for clicking on www.larrythewineguy.net. You know, bubbles people think are only for New Year's or celebrations or anniversaries. I think you should drink bubbles all year long. However, all of these would be referred to by the average consumer, these three bottles, as champagne. Champagne. Okay, which one of these, only one, is champagne? And I'm going to give you a hint, okay? The way I remember it is that you can live in Champagne, France, but you can't drink champagne. You can drink sparkling wine in the Champagne region of France, but you can't actually drink champagne that's made in California, even though some of the labels say that. So, which one? The one here, or the one where my chin is, or the one in the middle? Well, if you guess the one right here, you're right. Champagne. It comes from that Jean-Noël Hatton, champagne. However, in many wine stores, I do my own camera work, I told you this ain't easy, you will see a category called, let's see if I get this in front of me, this is terrible, huh? Terrible camera work. Sparkling wines, okay? And everybody calls it champagne. So when you go into a store asking for champagne, or do you want sparkling wine? And the difference is, again, even if it's made in France, like this one here, Falbourg rather, is a sparkling Chardonnay. It comes from France, but it's not a champagne because it's not made in the Champagne region of France. This one is made in the method of Champagne. It's from Washington State. Treveri rather, is a Blanc de Blanc, 100% Chardonnay sparkling. Very small, limited production, but made in Washington State. Sparkling wine. If it's not made in that region of Champagne, it's not champagne. Then I want to talk about vintages. Vintages a year. Most of the champagne that you're buying is what we call non-vintage champagne, a mixture of different years and a house style. Okay, even in Champagne, France. All right. So Jean-Noël Hatton, which started in 1928, is a non-vintage champagne. If you hear noise in the background, it's all happening live right here at ABC Fine Wine and Spirits. People talking and merchandisers talking. We like to keep it real here on Larry the Wine Guy. So this is a non-vintage champagne, $29.99 from a family that started by the great-grandfather Octavie Hatton in 1928, and now run by the great-grandson Jean-Noël Hatton. Okay, that's a champagne. Okay, and you can get non-vintage champagne or you can get vintage champagne. Vintage champagne means all the grapes came from a specific year. Okay, a specific year. And those are usually hundreds of dollars at least. However, just think about all the champagne brands that you know, and you buy real champagne, and you can see these $100 of champagne that are so available everywhere that in order to make large amounts, they have to buy grapes from just about every source possible. So therefore, the quality is not as good as a small family like Jean-Noël Hatton. They make a vintage champagne, which is back in stock. My favorite. Do I have it? Yes, I do. Notice it says the Noble Vintage, and it has a year. This is Jean-Noël Hatton, 2009. Real champagne, but a vintage champagne. Now, vintage champagne of the national brand names, like I said, could be $100, $200, $300 a bottle. But you want to know the price tag of Jean-Noël Hatton from a small family quality producer? There you go, looking on sale this month for $39.99. Okay, $39.99. And as you can see, ABC puts the note, this is a steal for a quality, a vintage champagne. But there's still plenty of sparkling wine to drink out there all year long. You don't have to pop a cork. In fact, you shouldn't even pop a cork. You should never hear the popping sound of a cork. You should always keep your hands on that top foil and turn the bottle, not the actual cork. You turn the bottle back and forth until it just slides out and you hear psst, but not a poof, and never take your wire cage off. That's a mistake that could lead to a big accident. If you want bling, there are 6 authorized grapes that make champagne, or that can be used in champagne. Petit Meslier, Arbonne, Pinot Blanc, Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, and Pinot Meunier. Most only use the last 3, Pinot Noir, Chardonnay, and a little bit of Pinot Meunier. Okay, Moutard, Domaine Moutard, makes a blend of all 6 grapes. Comes in a nice box. Champagne Moutard, one of my favorite houses. They make a demi-sec, which is semi-sweet, but they also make a vintage champagne with all 6 of the grapes, like 17% of all 6 grapes. I don't know of any other champagne house that does it. One of my favorite champagnes. However, limited edition for $74.99, still way less vintage champagne than you would spend for all of the popular brand names that are produced in very large quantities. Look what's inside this box. Bling! Limited edition, 2008 is the vintage, and it is Domaine Moutard. It's the same exact blend, cuvee is a blend, of all 6 authorized grapes that we sell for $59.99, $74.99. Still half the price of a Dom Perignon, let's say, which is a great champagne, but more family produced, smaller production, and having all 6 authorized grapes. It's a rare thing to drink. But again, you don't have to drink champagne. You can always go back to the category, I'm bending down, of sparkling wines. You can buy a $12 bottle of French sparkling wine or American sparkling wine or Prosecco. There's just a way to go. Bubbles are fun. Bubbles should be all year long, but I'm still all about. I wanted to be really excited because this has been out since New Year's and now back in stock. I've got it. I hope some of your ABC Fine Wine stores, a limited amount till next holiday. The Jean Noel Hatton Noble Vintage for $39.99. Even if it comes off sale at $41.99, it is still less than the popular non-vintage champagne. Vintage champagne, and for $74 for a graduation gift or a wedding, go for the bling. Comes in a gift bottle. Oop, wrong bottle. That's got bling too. But go for the bling and get yourself a bottle of the limited edition, not many around, of the Moutard Cuvée of 6 grapes, 6 cepage, 6 cepage, 2008, 93-point Wine Spectator rated wine, or champagne, real champagne from the Champagne region. Remember, you can live in Champagne, but you don't drink champagne. You drink sparkling wine that was made in Champagne. That's the difference between sparkling wine and champagne, and use it all year, just not when your favorite baseball team wins the World Series or at a celebration. Because at ABC, we're always be celebrating. We always be celebrating. I got to put that into a sentence. No, that's our slogan. Always be celebrating. And I think sparkling wine of any form, whether it's a $10 Prosecco, but just know the difference. So when you ask your ABC wine and spirit specialist or in a restaurant, you know the difference between champagne and non-vintage champagne and vintage champagne and sparkling wine. Okay, great, got it. I'm going to pop some corks for Memorial Day. It might be some sparkling wine, but I think a Hatton Noble Vintage is going home with me. Remember, hit the follow button. That entitles you to a service when you subscribe to my free blog, 24 hours, 7 days a week, of free wine advice. You will get my cell phone number. No other wine sommelier or retailer does that for you. Ask your wine and spirits specialist at any ABC in Florida. Visit our website at www.abcfws.com. You could order online if you're in Florida. You could even have one of these great sparklers or real champagne made in Champagne, France, delivered to your home using Shipt or Instacart. Until I see you next time, thank you for tuning in to www.larrythewineguy.net, and have yourself a great day and hopefully some bubbles, whether from Champagne or somewhere else. Thanks.